Love it. Mm. Hey guys, welcome back to the Quarantine Cooking Show, and today I'm going to be making some cookies. Now, it's taken me so long to do this recipe because in the beginning Joey was avoiding gluten, which means she can't have any of these cookies. So I actually tried to adapt and change the flour from just whole white flour into garbanzo bean flour and to buckwheat flour, but yet she can't do eggs also. So I'm going to be baking these cookies based on one of my old recipes, and I have tried it before. So first off, we're going to be mixing all our dry ingredients and then mixing the sort of wet ingredients. Now, when you're baking without sugar, it really changes the dynamic of how the consistency of the dough is going to look like. Plus, using garbanzo bean flour and buckwheat flour gives us a different flavor from just using regular flour. The cookie actually will come out with a nutty flavor taste, and I think it's really good. And it's semi-healthy because obviously I'm still going to be using some chocolate chips into it, which means it's still going to have some sugar in it, but not as much sugar as the regular recipe calls for, because the regular recipe actually calls for almost 2 cups of sugar. So in the regular recipe that I've had from before, it's 1 cup white sugar, 1 cup brown sugar. In conversion to honey, we are going to lessen this almost by a 1/4 cup per sugar. So basically 1 cup of white sugar is equal to 3/4 cup of honey. Now, when using honey, it's also very acidic, which means we're going to be adding some baking soda to the mix so that it can counteract the acidity for the honey right there. So I've always been an advocate for looking for healthier versions of recipes, and definitely this is one of them. We're going to start off with sifting our flour. So I have a 1 cup measuring here. We're going to be filling this 1 cup of garbanzo bean flour and 1 cup of buckwheat flour. Stirring it together right here. We're going to start our recipe real quick. We're going to need 1.5 cups of each of the flour. I have my measuring cups here. So we're going to just loosely put the flour in, nothing too precise. Because we are working with baking, it's always about moisture and how you keep the moisture in the ingredients. So that's how you know if your baking is going to work or not. But again, I've done this recipe before, so kind of familiar how it goes. So it's roughly 1 cup. Now, if you're wondering where I got the flour, I ordered it online and it came from either Whole Foods or Sprouts. And that's the advantage here in Los Angeles. You have the variety of using different types of flour and not just white flour, because obviously white flour is the bad for you in a way. So we're just gonna sift this real quick, just taking out all the lumps. And then we're going to be adding the buckwheat flour. Now this again has such a different flavor just from regular flour, and I think it's worth trying if you guys have not tried it before. That's 1. There's 2. Beautiful. Okay, let's seal these bags real quick. Back to sifting. So we're going to add some baking soda. So normally when I'm not using honey, we will just put 1 teaspoon of baking soda. But for this recipe, we're going to be using 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Our little measuring spoons. Here's 1 teaspoon. 1. That's about 2. Then we're gonna add a pinch of salt. I'm using the wrong salt. You shouldn't be using flakes for this recipe, but I will try to crush it as much as possible. And I'm just gonna take a pinch and grind it in my hand first. Almost done. Okay, salt in. So we're gonna do 2 eggs. One and a half cup of honey. Since we've finished with our dry ingredients, we can use this again. So here's 1. And in this cup we have a half measurement, so I'm just going to use the same one. And a half. So I like to use unsalted butter, but you can also use salted butter. We're going to save this so that we can use it to wipe the baking paper so that our cookies don't stick on. Now, because the eggs look a little runny, we might have to add some flour later on, and we will know when we start mixing the batch. When we start mixing the batch together, so we're just gonna pop this in a microwave super quick. First, we'll just mix the dry ingredients. Then we're gonna make a well. Gonna add a splash of vanilla. Now we're going to help melt this butter. I didn't microwave it too much so the heat isn't so crazy, because I don't want it to react with the eggs. While that is cooling down, we're going to pop these eggs and mix it all together. Okay. So the honey and the butter and the egg yolks and eggs along with the vanilla extract are not binding, but we're going to start mixing our dry and wet ingredients. It's very non-traditional, and we're gonna fold. So this is gonna take a while for it to all bind together, and I'm going to speed this forward. Okay, so this consistency looks a little too wet for me, which means I'm gonna be adding some more flour. Alright, let that stand. Preheat the oven to 350. Have our semi-sweet chocolate chips. And these were in the fridge so that they're a bit colder. So we saved our packs of butter spread. Just going to use it to So we're about a minute out and we're gonna check. I made a mistake. Look how big these guys have expanded, so they're all sticking to each other now, but this is almost done and we're gonna be taking it out in the next few minutes. Oh no.
Smells so good in here. Wow.
Mistakes.
Smells so good. I can't eat it.
You can't eat it.
It has egg and wheat, or it just has egg?
It has butter, egg.
Yummers.
Let it cool down. Learning from the first batch of expansion, we gotta shrink it down. There you go. This is gonna be our second batch, back in the oven for another 10 minutes. I pulled out the second batch. This is the second batch, which looks more like actual cookies. And we've just lessened the amount that we put on the trays, and now we're gonna be doing the last batch. As the last batch of cookies are baking, I wanted to show you guys. So this was our first batch, which was overly too big, which they connected basically. And the last batches were actually very good looking. So the cookie's a bit soft, but that's perfect. So I think 11 to 12 minutes might be a better run because the first batch was super soft, and I actually destroyed one already and tasted it. So this one is our taster one, and as you can see, it's nice and fluffy with some chocolate bits inside. Love it. In the oven, nice, didn't touch. We're gonna leave this in for just a little longer. I want to see if we can roast the bottom just a little bit more. So we'll do the cookies that are cold already and put them into the container. Stacking them neatly. Nice and brown on the edges. Holding the tray. And there you have it. I'm gonna be bringing some of this to my car shop to feed the guys, and some of this is gonna go in my belly. So here it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. If you have any questions, please let me know. And as usual, if you like this vlog, please like, share, and subscribe. And let me know if you guys try out this recipe, because I think it's absolutely amazing. Knowing that there's no sugar, or not much sugar, because obviously the chocolate chips have some sugar, I really like it. Again, I think you can lessen the baking powder, sorry, the baking soda just a little, so it's not as fluffy, but it's all preferential, right? Nice, wet, moist, chocolate chip, goodness, healthy. See you guys soon.